All right, let's dive in. We're taking on abundance today, and wow, you guys sent in some really interesting stuff from a 1968 session with Seth, channeled through Jane Roberts.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like you're ready to figure out how to attract all that good stuff, positive changes, and a life full of abundance.
Mm.
So let's see what Seth has to say about all this.
Well, one thing that really jumps out from this session is how Seth, he connects our beliefs to what actually shows up in our world.
Yeah?
He even says, the physical image is a direct materialization of the inner state of mind.
Whoa. Okay, so our thoughts, actually matter.
It's powerful stuff.
Big time. And you know what? I can totally relate to that.
Oh, yeah.
For a long time, I had this, self-doubt thing going on with my creative work.
I feel that.
Always second-guessing myself. And guess what? My projects would always hit a snag, It wasn't until I actually started believing in myself that things started, moving more smoothly.
It's amazing how our inner world, it really does shape what we experience out there. And Seth, he really zeroes in on those negative beliefs we have, especially about finances.
Oh, yeah.
He says, when you think in terms of want and then see physical materializations of want, you are tempted to think that your fears were justified and therefore those thoughts are reinforced.
So it's like we're creating this self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
Makes me think about when I was starting out in my career, I was fixated on that tiny salary, and it just seemed to become this giant stress monster, attracting even more money problems instead of, solutions.
That's that trap Seth's talking about, dwelling on what we lack. It just reinforces those patterns.
Oh, yeah.
He's all about shifting that perspective from want to plenty.
Okay, I like that.
He calls it the rule of expectation, where we actually cultivate the expectation of abundance instead of focusing on scarcity.
So instead of freaking out over bills, we should be picturing ourselves paying them off with a smile.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of simple, but I can see how that changes our energy.
Yeah. Right. It's retraining our brains to focus on what we do want, not what we don't.
I'm into it.
Seth even lays out some steps, practical stuff, to actually use this principle.
Ooh, like what?
Imagine this. Instead of getting all stressed when those bills show up,
Yeah, I know that feeling.
you replace that reaction with a positive visualization.
Okay.
Picture yourself celebrating as you make that final payment on your car.
Ooh, I like that.
Feel that relief, that accomplishment.
Yeah.
And it's like we're using our imagination to create a new reality.
So instead of dreading that pile of bills,
Mhm.
I should be picturing myself happily writing those checks, feeling grateful that I can even pay them, right?
Yes. It's all about shifting your emotional state from stress to peace.
Peace with bills. Sign me up.
And there's this other technique Seth mentions that Rob, or Joseph, as his entity name is known, used for abundance.
Okay.
Seth says, from the time you purchased your car, Rupert has daily done exercises to lead toward its payment.
So daily work, huh?
He suggests taking at least 15 minutes a day to visualize your dream financial outcomes.
It's interesting. He was actively using visualization to make it happen.
Yeah.
15 minutes. That seems doable.
It is.
Can we use these principles for other stuff too, not just money?
Oh, absolutely. What Seth's saying is abundance isn't just about stacks of cash.
Right.
It's a way of being, an energy you can bring to any part of your life.
Okay.
This session focuses a lot on finances because, well, that was a big worry for Jane and Rob back then.
Gotcha.
But the ideas he's sharing, those are universal.
Okay. That makes sense.
So whether you're looking for love, wanting to get healthier, or even tapping into your creative potential, those principles still apply.
So it's all about shifting those beliefs, focusing on what we do want, and using visualization to, match our energy to our goals, right?
And exactly. This session, it's like a roadmap to understanding our own power to create a life full of abundance, not just financially, but like you said, in every way.
It's not just about the money, it's about the whole package. Now, this session, it also gives us a little peek into the relationship between Jane and Rob, whose entity names are Rupert and Joseph.
Oh, yeah, they're an interesting pair.
Their approaches to abundance,
Yeah,
totally different. It's fascinating.
it is.
Seth even points it out. He says, Rupert has been making an attempt in the proper direction, and you have not been able so far to make the same attempt.
Interesting.
Seems like Jane, she struggled with worry, while Rob, he was more naturally inclined towards positive visualization, even if he wasn't always aware of it.
That dynamic, it really shows how important it is to know yourself, what are your tendencies, and then consciously choosing to build that abundance mindset.
Right, recognizing those thought patterns that might be holding us back and swapping them out for something more powerful.
Exactly.
It's like our thoughts and beliefs, they have this ripple effect.
Hmm.
In their case, Rob's efforts to, like, manifest abundance seem to balance out Jane's worries.
It's something to think about, you know?
Yeah.
The session doesn't say outright that we can control other people's experiences, but it does hint that our energy can influence those around us.
Whoa, that's a big thought. What if by, cultivating our own sense of abundance, we're actually creating a more positive environment for everyone?
Definitely worth exploring.
Yeah.
But for now, why don't we dig a little deeper into Seth's suggestions for shifting from lack to abundance?
Yeah, let's get practical. He gives some specific techniques that we can start using right away to
Mhm.
make a real change in our lives.
Absolutely.
Love that. Okay, so we've been talking about shifting our focus, from what we don't have to what we do want,
All right.
and using that visualization to, like, create that abundance vibe.
Right.
But I feel like it's easy to get stuck in the, like, how-to part and miss the bigger picture.
Hmm.
What does Seth actually mean by abundance? Like, what's he really getting at?
That's such a good question because it's easy to think it's all about the money, right? But Seth's idea of abundance, it goes way beyond that. He actually says, this trust is the basis of your existence. You have much that others more financially secure would envy and do envy.
So it's more about, like, a feeling, a deep trust, and seeing the good stuff we already have.
Exactly. It's about appreciation, gratitude for all that richness we already have in our lives.
So, like, appreciating those good relationships, good health, even those unique talents we have, right?
Yeah, it's about shifting that lens from scarcity to gratitude.
Okay, love it.
Seth, he wants us to really see those areas where we're already experiencing abundance.
Okay.
Like you mentioned your creative work, right? Maybe there are parts of that process where you just feel that flow, that inspiration. That's abundance happening right there.
You're right. There are those times when I'm totally lost in my work, ideas are just pouring out, and I lose track of time. That's when I feel like the most alive and fulfilled.
That right there, that's tapping into that abundance energy.
I love that.
And when we cultivate that gratitude for what we have, it's like we open ourselves up to receive even more.
It's like they say, what you appreciate appreciates.
Yeah.
But how do we actually cultivate that trust? Especially when things feel shaky or tough.
That's where those practical exercises Seth talks about come in, remember? That visualization practice he suggests.
Right, right.
He's giving us a way to reprogram our thinking to get in sync with that abundance energy.
I'm with you.
He says, what you should do, you see, is simply trust. For this is the most practical point of all.
So when those doubts pop up, those worries, we can turn to those positive visualizations to kind of shift our state of mind.
Exactly.
Okay.
Picture yourself already living that dream, whether it's financial freedom or a fulfilling career or a loving relationship. Feel those emotions like it's happening right now.
Okay, I can see how that can help us move from, like, fear to hope, from lack to possibility.
Right.
But doesn't that feel like we're just fooling ourselves, ignoring the reality of our situation?
Seth actually addresses that.
Oh, why not?
He emphasizes understanding. It's not about denying the challenges, but choosing to focus on a more empowering reality.
Okay.
He even says, understanding will help you. The exercises I have given you in themselves will begin to negate the causes behind this failure.
Okay, so it's about realizing that our thoughts, they're powerful, they actually shape our world. It's about consciously choosing to focus on what we want to create, not what we're afraid of.
Exactly. It's about becoming conscious creators of our experience.
That's a big one.
And it takes awareness. Seth wants us to pay attention to our thoughts, our beliefs, see what's holding us back, and then swap those out for something better.
It's like weeding a garden. You got to pull out the weeds of negative beliefs and plant those seeds of abundance through our thoughts and visualizations.
Such a good analogy.
Thanks.
It shows how important that constant effort is, that cultivation. Because abundance, it's not a destination, it's a journey.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And with each thought, each belief, each action, we get to choose which way that journey goes.
Exactly. It's about taking responsibility for that inner world because it directly shapes what we experience out there.
So if we want to manifest a life full of abundance, we got to become those, like, really dedicated gardeners of our minds, right? Nurturing those seeds of positive belief and letting them grow into something real.
Beautifully said. And don't forget, even those things we see as failures, they can teach us something valuable.
Oh, that's right.
Like Seth mentioned, understanding those failures can help us get rid of the root cause.
Okay, so it's not about being perfect or never messing up.
Mm.
It's about learning from those experiences and using them to grow.
Exactly. This session really emphasizes that growth mindset, embracing the whole journey, and trusting that we can create a life that truly reflects what we want deep down.
That's really empowering, knowing that we have more control than we realize.
It is.
But I do have a question. How does this personal responsibility thing fit in with the idea that we're all connected?
Oh, that's a deep one.
Because earlier, we touched on how our energy can affect others. So how do we balance our efforts to create abundance for ourselves with knowing that we're all part of this bigger web?
I think it's about realizing that our own growth, our own well-being, it contributes to the collective good.
Go ahead.
When we choose to cultivate abundance in our lives, we not only benefit ourselves, but we also send that energy outward. It touches those around us.
Like a ripple effect. Our positive thoughts and actions creating these waves of abundance that can reach so far.
Exactly. And maybe by embracing that interconnectedness, we can actually make those efforts even stronger, create a world where abundance isn't a privilege, it's something everyone has.
That's a beautiful thought. And it
Yeah.
feels possible, and it reminds us that this journey towards abundance is not just a solo mission, it's something we do together.
Yeah.
This deep dive has been incredible, so insightful.
Mm.
It's given so much to think about, our beliefs, our power to create, and the importance of trusting in the abundance that's already here, both within us and all around us.
I agree. It's been a rich exploration of Seth's teachings, and I'm sure our listeners are taking away some really valuable insights that they can actually apply to their own lives.
I hope so. This session, man, it's been a real journey exploring all this abundant stuff with Seth.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's cool how he blends, like, the practical stuff with the big picture thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's pushing us to become these, like, conscious creators of our own reality,
It's a powerful idea.
It really is.
And what I find really striking is how Seth keeps emphasizing that abundance, it's not just about getting more stuff.
Yeah.
It's about really seeing and appreciating all the good stuff we already have.
Right. It's like shifting that focus
Yeah.
from lack to what we do have,
Yeah.
and then from there, building that expectation of even more abundance, right?
Exactly. He's reminding us that this trust, this gratitude, it's not just some fluffy feel-good stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the foundation of our very being.
Oh,
And from that foundation of trust, that's where we can start using those practical tools he gives us, like visualization, to shape our reality.
it's realizing that our thoughts, our beliefs, they're not just floating around in our heads.
Right.
They're actually shaping our experience.
Absolutely. And it's not about pretending everything's perfect or
Yes.
denying our challenges.
Right.
It's about choosing to focus on that more empowering reality, the one where abundance isn't something we're chasing, it's already here.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
This session really drives home the point that we're not just, like, passively riding the waves of life.
Mhm.
We're actively shaping our own destiny,
I think that's a huge takeaway for our listeners today, realizing that we have the power to choose abundance in every moment, no matter what's going on around us.
It's a big responsibility, right?
It is.
It's like Seth is calling us to step up, become these conscious creators, move beyond just wishing for things, and actually align our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions with what we want to experience.
Makes sense.
It makes me think about those, like, programs running in the background of our minds, those deep-seated beliefs that might be holding us back without us even realizing it.
Yeah. Exactly. And once we see those limiting beliefs, that's when we can start to question them, reframe them, and swap them out for something better.
So it's like an upgrade.
Yeah. And that's where those visualization techniques are so powerful. It's not just wishful thinking, it's like rewiring our minds for abundance.
This session, it's given us a lot to chew on, and I love how Seth encourages us to make this a regular thing.
Mm-hmm.
He even suggests, going back to this session, really reflecting on what it has to offer.
He's reminding us that this journey towards abundance, it's not a one-time deal, it's a lifelong exploration.
Yeah.
It's about always learning, deepening that trust, and aligning ourselves with that abundance energy in every part of our lives.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about, building on what we've explored today.
Okay.
If abundance isn't something we get, but something we grow, what are some small but meaningful steps you can take today to cultivate that sense of abundance in your own life?
That's a great question to ponder. It could be as simple as just expressing gratitude for what you have,
Yeah.
or visualizing yourself achieving a goal, or even just choosing to focus on the good stuff in your situation right now.
It's making that conscious choice to shift from scarcity to abundance,
Yes.
from fear to trust, from lack to possibility.
And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're all figuring this out together.
That's right. Thanks for diving deep with us today, everyone. And remember, that power to create a life full of abundance, it's within you.
Until next time.